The following podcast contains alcohol-enhanced conversations about alcohol, as well as a potential for discussions about other topics of dubious, disturbing, possibly offensive, but usually hilarious interest. The opinions stated herein are solely of the person stating them, and any endorsement of these opinions by any other party is not implied. Foul language is likely, but intolerant viewpoints are not. Listener intoxication is advised. Excuse me, last call? No, last call. No, please, somebody, listen, no. Last call. Last call. Last call.
Arg, you bastards, I said last call. What are you still doing here? Don't you know there's a corona apocalypse out there? Okay, fine. Order one more drink before you go.
Hello and welcome to our semi-annual Last Call episode, Winter 2020 edition on the Whiskey Tangent podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Ed.
So every 6 months we like to just give our wallets and livers a bit of a rest and just take a look back, perhaps give some behind-the-scenes glimpses inside the podcast, recap the previous 6 months worth of episodes and shorts, and talk about what's coming up. And of course, there will be tangents. But first, Ed's going to get us started with some listener shout-outs.
Thanks, Scott. Listen, what an amazing year this has been. Because in a way, this is probably our year anniversary episode as well. And we're going to have to celebrate in seclusion because we are in the middle of a shutdown on the coronavirus in New Jersey.
Well, to be clear, not in the middle of it. We're not disobeying the law. It's just starting tonight in about an hour and a half.
Right. And yeah, so
I didn't mean to mess you up.
No,
sorry.
When this comes out, it's going to be April. And by that point, we're going to have a much clearer picture of what's going on with the coronavirus. We're all stuck in our houses. They've closed our local lounge, except for takeout. And we are still allowed to go out. I think we can record further after this. So we'll see how it plays out. But we are prepared with content to release all the way into May.
Yeah, and we're being careful too. Like, we're seated much farther apart
than normal.
We normally are. We haven't
6
even
feet.
We haven't even fist bumped.
Right. We've kept 6 foot, and I washed my hands when I got here today, like I was doing surgery.
Right.
And everything's bathed in bourbon and alcohol to kill all germs.
Yeah, we're disinfecting ourselves from the inside.
So it's a crazy time, and I know everyone out there knows what I'm talking about because you're going through it too. So it's kind of cast a little bit of a shadow over our 1 year anniversary of the podcast, but we still want to talk about things because...
Yeah. Why don't you do the shout outs?
Yeah, we're really overwhelmed by how many people have been supportive this year. On our Facebook page, we have 1,000 plus likes already, over 4,000 downloads.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be the same person downloading us 4,000 times, but...
Right, they're going to different podcasts.
All kidding aside,
apps.
Each episode is being downloaded between 60 and 100 times, which I think after 1 year is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's not bad for as long as we've been operating, and the fact that we don't really go crazy publicizing.
Yeah, I would say we're probably now at about 150 per week downloads.
Right.
And now that we have more content, this will be our 52nd or 53rd. If one person just downloads, that's one of our best download days right there.
Right, exactly. That's a great point, Scott, that moving forward, starting in April, we are taking the last Thursday off as a catch-up day because we are getting a lot of new fans, and we don't want to overwhelm them. We don't want to be like, oh, they have 100 episodes. I don't feel like getting into it. First of all, you don't have to go in order. Some people I've talked to, oh no, I have to go in order. Hey, listen, there's definitely something to be gained from going in order.
Yeah,
because we make references and there's a lot of inside jokes on the Whiskey Tangent podcast.
Yeah,
but. If you just want to dip into our Blood Oath episode or you want to look at what we're talking about with Elijah Craig, then just jump into that episode. We'll tell you all about it.
Right. It's certainly not necessary to do that. I'm the type of person who probably would start at the very beginning and work my way through, but that's
Believe it or
me.
not, as different as our personalities are, I'm the exact same way.
Really?
I hate going out of order.
Yeah.
Episodes, like if I'm watching like to binge watch something, like, oh, you don't have to watch first. No, I have to watch first season. I have to know what's going on.
Yeah, I can't watch it. Started in the middle of a movie. I can't.
Either restart it or I'll go upstairs.
Right.
So some shout outs, some people that have been really great our first year. Of course, Derek and Callum from the local where we have our locker at. They have been just the best whiskey buddies. And they're struggling during this time period too. And my heart goes out to them. And Anders, of course, the bar manager there, who is a dear, dear friend of the podcast, and you just enjoyed him throughout our Whiskey Madness. And all the people there. I mean, we know everyone who works there. They're like part of the family to us, really. So our heart goes out to them, and we hope that they're doing okay.
Right. Good people, all of them.
Oh, my God. Such good people there. And then people we've met at the lounge has been special to us, too. Marty and Rachel have just been spectacular fans of the podcast and are great people to talk to. We just were with them at the last whiskey tasting we did, which was the
green spot, red spot, yellow spot.
Right, where they were at the same table with us, if you will, and we had a great time with them.
Yeah, we overstayed,
yeah.
I think.
What's great about there is, we share, we gave some Teelings to them. They gave us some Woodford Double Oaked, and no, actually, what was the scotch you gave us last time?
Oh, yeah, he gave us a scotch.
The Dalwhinnie, was it? No, it was good.
I think it was Balvenie.
Oh, yeah.
12.
12 or 15.
Maybe the 15.
It was nice.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much, Marty, for that. And our goal is to eventually have them on here. They're very knowledgeable.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Rachel's given us an idea about an episode 2, encouraging us and giving us ideas.
Yeah.
A few other people that I want to give a shout out to. My cousin Nancy, who I thanked so much on the last call.
Yeah.
It was so nice. She sent us a box with these little test tubes in it and like a little rack that holds them. Mm-hmm. With stoppers in them, and it was all these baking spices like clove and cardamom and cinnamon, and so that we could open up the test tubes and smell to see if anything is clicking as we taste whiskeys. Also, Rich and Bill over at Benash, which is our local honey
now
has some fantastic selection of whiskey. They did a expression with MGP themselves, which was
was that the Weeder thing?
The Weeder with 60% corn and like 35% wheat, 5% malted barley.
Yeah, it was very good.
It was spectacular at 114 proof, I think, 115 proof. And
I can check. It's right here.
Yeah, check it. It won a couple of tastings with, I think, W.L. Weller, and I can see why, because it was delicious. I just went back and got a second bottle this week. So if you're anywhere in the South Jersey area, Cherry Hill specifically, Benash is a fantastic, fantastic liquor store.
It was 115.
115?
115 proof.
And I think the price point was about $50. And they also have this great clearance table because they have so much product come in.
Is that where you get the Journeyman?
Yeah.
The feather?
The Journeyman. Yeah. So the counter to the Weeder that they had was a Journeyman that was 60% rye and like 40%. Go ahead, say what it is.
Yeah, it's the Journeyman Distillery's Last Feather Rye Whiskey. It's a 60% rye, 40% wheat.
Which is like the opposite of what the Weeder is, which is 60% corn. So the point is, you go in there and there's always something to be grabbed on the
shelf.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been there.
I know.
It's the weirdest thing.
And you live so close to it because it's right down the street from the Cherry Hill Mall.
Yeah, you know what? The weird thing about the Cherry Hill Mall in Marlton is there's no direct route to get there. It's really all back roads and weirdness, unless you go all the way down 70.
Well, 73. Doesn't 73 Cape?
73 and go all the way down 38.
Well, yeah, you might be right. But I can't believe it's not like a random church road or something like that.
There is.
There's always a church road that goes.
There's like 50 lights. It's a pain in the ass. Welcome to South Jersey.
I'm going to Google how far Benash is from your house right now while on the air, because I feel like you're being dramatic. I can't. I know I drive like
no. Finish your shout outs and then look it up when I do my shout out.
So I want to also give a shout out to my friend Joe and his wife Lisa, who were supposed to do an episode with us, and due to her job as a pretty important person in the respiratory field of medicine in the Philadelphia area, she's needed and can't break away. And plus, now we're on double secret shutdown probation or whatever. So, and then I want to thank the people that came on and were on episodes. Gabe, of course.
Gabe, the Whiskey Sherpa.
The Whiskey Sherpa. He's been an outstanding third piece.
Cheers, bro.
The mayor of Jackie's Crossing, Siobhan, has been a surprisingly intricate member of the team.
She has great comedic timing.
Oh, yes.
Just comes out with the most shocking statements.
Right. Well, especially if we get her buzzed up like we did in an episode, whatever.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Shelby, Nari, and Drea were back again from the 10th episode. They were back for our New Year's Eve
the ladies
cocktail extravaganza. Right, their nickname is AKA the ladies are back. Right. Then we had Christian and my friend Jay,
right,
from work, who was on for the beer episode. The beer that's been aged in bourbon barrels.
The barrel-aged beers, yes.
Right. And finally, Jeff and Sue, I feel like, need their own time. Jeff has been on several episodes and shorts. Sue God, it's probably one of my most fun episodes to do, the episode with Port Finished. I mean, if you haven't heard that one, she is just hysterical.
We have an episode planned for them too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because once we find something that works, Lord knows we will beat it to death and milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, who's your shout out?
So my shout out, I only have one. I'd like to make it sort of a special thing for a particular person who I think went above and beyond. So this time it's my friend Bill. I work with his wife Jen, and Bill took our Whiskey Tangent cards that we had created, like sort of like business cards, and he went on a trip to Spain and Italy. And he just Johnny Appleseeded them around bars, liquor stores, duty-free shops, in the airports. And I just thought that was a really cool thing for him to do. He's a big supporter of the podcast. Jen was telling a story that she was bothering him about something. She's like, I was the nagging wife, nagging him to do something. And he's like, I am paying attention to this podcast. I'm learning about things. And then she's like, and then she heard my voice and she's like, oh, it's Scott Pod. Okay, fine. Yes. By all means, continue what you're doing.
Right. And there's no rumor that he had anything to do with spreading the coronavirus around Italy.
No,
that is a fake rumor that I just started. And I quickly refuted it.
This was back in, I don't know, October, November.
Right. And now we are the #1 whiskey podcast in Italy, as far as I'm pretty sure. I think I've heard that somewhere. Oh, yeah, from me just a second ago.
Oh, so that's a good thing. That's a good segue into where our listeners are
right.
from.
Yeah, that's right. So my favorite part of the last call last time was Scott to do a recap of who's listening to us and where, because it always is nice to know where our 12s of fans are located at.
Right. So do you want to do just the last 6 months?
Sure. Our 6-month last call came out in September. So since then, Scott, where are we at?
All right. Aside from the United States, of course, the #1 was Canada.
Right.
And Canada can actually show the breakdown. So we were in British Columbia, by far the most. And then Quebec, Alberta, and Ontario. Spain. So
there you
maybe
go.
Bill's cards did the trick.
I don't see how you cannot say a correlation there. We have no other connection to Spain. How many people in Spain?
28. Well, downloads, not people, but you know,
well,
who knows?
I would hope it's not 28 people who downloaded it once and it's fuck it.
Right, and stop listening.
Right.
That would be worse.
It's actually better to have one person that loved 28 episodes.
Yeah, I agree. Afghanistan, still 27. That's our buddy Brian.
Right.
I don't know if he's still there. I stopped seeing stuff from Afghanistan a few months ago, so it could be that he's returned. Brian, if you've returned, send us an email.
Yeah, let us know. whiskeytangent@gmail.com.
The next one on the list, Mexico. They had already been listening to us, I think, before that.
Right. All these numbers are from September.
Right. Ireland.
Love us there.
Yeah.
We're getting bigger.
India.
Right.
United Kingdom. Germany.
Interesting.
South Africa.
Love it.
Australia.
Yep.
Romania.
Right.
Thailand.
Surprising.
Israel. New Zealand. France. Singapore.
Wait, New Zealand?
Yeah, New Zealand.
Damn.
France, Singapore, Ukraine, Argentina, Croatia, the Netherlands, Panama, Poland, and Sweden.
I mean, can we say holy fuck? Like, that's so impressive in 1 year that we have been downloaded in how many different countries?
24 countries.
Right. So that's really fucking amazing. This is something that didn't exist last April.
Yeah.
When this gets released, it'll be 2 days shy of the day our first episode was released.
And Argentina finally gets us into South America.
Right. And how many downloads do we have in the great country of Argentina?
One
download. Someone listened to us and hated us, but guess what, bitches? Doesn't matter.
Counts
As being in 6 continents now. We have been listened to in 6 continents.
We are literally all around the world.
I've been everywhere, Scott. I've been everywhere.
Canada, Afghanistan, Mexico, Spain.
Exactly. So if you would have told me when we started this April 11th last year.
Nope.
That.
Nope.
What?
No, I'm saying no.
Right. I was going to say.
Yeah.
If you would have told us that we would have been.
I already know what you're going to say.
If we would have been downloaded to and listened to in 24 countries in 6 continents, I would have been like, shut your fucking face. We might get like 250, 300 listens in America.
Right. In New Jersey.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like maybe somebody in Ireland would click on because, we like Irish whiskey too.
Okay, so here's a cool thing. You can actually click on the United States and see all the states in which we've been listened to. And there's only 12 states that we've not been listened to.
Oh, wow. Fuck.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to say 7 that we did.
No, 12 that we have not been listened to.
So that's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Our top 5, New Jersey, of course, Pennsylvania, Maryland, California, and New York.
Wow.
All in the hundreds.
Wow, that's crazy. So we have 38 states that have listened to us.
Yes.
in the United States.
Including Hawaii.
Wow. And like you said, 5 different provinces of Canada.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that. I'm actually a little overwhelmed by that. It's hysterical to me that we were able to accomplish so much.
Yeah. So let's do the recaps.
Episode 14.
We went to a tasting at the local lounge on Willett. We tasted the Willett Pot Still bourbon. We got to taste the Family State Rye.
Noah's Mill and Rowan's Creek.
Right. And
The Pure Kentucky XO.
which was delicious. And so we got to go to that tasting, and then that made us go out and get the bottle of Willett, which I had to haggle just to be allowed to buy it at the liquor store. So the guy comes out. He's got the bottle in his hand. I'm excited. There it is.
This bottle right here.
Yep.
Okay.
He reaches it out to me. I go to grab it, and he snaps it back like, you're going to buy it, right? You want it.
What?
Like I was standing in his driveway at a yard sale or something. Like he was afraid I was going to snatch it and run out of the store.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever
Literally
heard.
pulled it back from me, like bent his elbow back towards his ear, like, no, you're going to buy it, right? And yeah, I asked you to go get it. And what we learned from that episode is that the Willett is spectacular at about 110 proof. For being only 4 years, I still don't know how I was able to accomplish that. And we also learned that for a very reasonable price, like $37, $38, that the High West Double Rye held its own pretty well.
Yeah,
It was
I really like the High West Double Rye. It's made in Utah. The thing I remember about episode 14 was Ed being, let's say, inappropriate in his anger toward Utah.
I was belligerent.
He was belligerent, and I had to cut out most of it.
Yes, it simply couldn't air. Okay.
I remember laughing at it. Then I went to edit the episode, and I'm listening to it in the sobering light of day, and I'm like, oh, God, we can't use any of this.
Yeah, and I think I texted the next morning, like, I think you want to look at my Utah rant, because I feel like it was a little bit intense at times.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, it's already cut.
So
maybe I'll play a little clip of it with most of your stuff bleeped out.
Can we just talk about, like, Utah's like a state. I mean, like, what a state you are, Utah. Your whole useless Mormon Salt Lake State with your basketball team that named the Jazz for no reason because you're the least Jazz state. I forbid anybody to listen to my podcast in Utah. I don't want you to listen in your lily white, stupid short haircut. Stop knocking on my door on a Saturday morning in your little suits, your little clean cuts, Thetford kids. You, Utah, and your Mormons. Your whole religion. Andy Reid and Steve Young and anybody else that you want to line up. Jeez. Kiss my big ample ass, you bizarre people. Funny. Okay. So that was a great episode to start the second half with because first of all, for Scott and I's perspective, it was delicious to drink the whiskey, which is always important.
Episode 15.
That was our cocktail episode because it's every 5.
Yeah, our first one with Anders.
Anders came to do a foray into cocktails. And
the Chancellor, the Godfather, and the Vieux Carré.
Right. He made these 3 drinks, and they were delicious, and it was one of our funniest episodes.
It was great.
It was a great time.
That's when Pucker made his first appearance.
And just throw all that together, and you're essentially just making a pomegranate syrup, and there you have traditional grenadine. And it's got more of a pucker. And more of like a,
I like pucker.
Pucker up.
Ed, do Pucker. Who is Pucker to us?
Do you know what pucker?
No, wait for this.
Pucker.
So great.
Scott and I created the world's worst mascot for the colon and intestinal health department of America. And so it was like a giant ass with an asshole talking called Pucker.
Hi, hey guys, I'm Pucker. Maybe get your colon checked.
So that stupid, idiotic story that you just heard is one of the reasons that we have a podcast.
Also, this episode is when you got the nickname Chancellor. So let's talk about the first cocktail, the Chancellor. Ed, I think you said that you would like the Chancellor to be your nickname.
Yeah, that's my new nickname.
The Chancellor.
I think if that was my nickname, that's a pretty boss-ass nickname. Like,
it is a pretty dope nickname, yeah.
Hey, Chancellor!
Chancellor!
Hey, everybody. Slim Jims for everyone.
Slim Jims. I don't think is actually caught on.
No, that's not really my nickname.
No, I want to be the Drambassador.
Yes. So, like, if we had a YouTube channel, we were like the Chancellor and the Drambassador.
Yeah,
that would be pretty dope.
I like it.
That'd be awesome.
Episode 16.
Angel Envy, bourbon versus Breckenridge, port finished whiskeys was our theme. And we drank a lovely port that Scott had picked up somewhere. We had our good friends Jeff and Sue there. I was the one that titled the episode in the middle of it, "That Train is Going Off the Rails Again."
Don't pretend that your listeners aren't thinking.
Wait, Jeff, are you saying that there may be fan fiction? Are people shipping us?
Any rumor of us being more than podcast associates is completely inaccurate.
Greatly exaggerated.
Greatly
They're
exaggerated.
making disclaimers.
Exciting
There's an
and new.
easy chair.
You were doing the wrong song. Sorry. I just sang right over you. I was doing the Love Boat. You were doing
Streisand, isn't it?
Barbara Streisand. Yeah.
It's one of those K-Tel Records song commercials.
That's right. And Peebo Bryson and
Oh my God, we're completely off the rails.
holy
here.
crap! Yeah.
We're answering a question very simply. There is no pure boss. We negotiate everything what needs to be negotiated. I give Scott carte blanche when it comes to editing.
There's no pitcher and there's no catcher.
And we're
Jesus.
Christ, we could not keep it going.
We couldn't keep it together. We were extra.
Funny, man.
We
We
were-
were drunk. We
Yeah.
were drunk a little bit, but I mean, some of us were drunker than others. And
Sue.
I'm hoping to have my friend Joe and his wife on sometime. They're big whiskey aficionados. They really go all in on scotches and single malts and bourbons. So
But I bring the fresh perspective.
Absolutely.
on
We
not
love it.
Having very much experience.
you
with
bring
the
so much
whiskey.
more than that, Sue.
Right.
Oh, I know.
And you look adorable in those headphones. Did we tell you
Oh my
that
God,
earlier?
yeah. You should get a job as like an air traffic controller.
Air traffic control.
Oh.
You're going to have to turn around.
Oh my God.
Wait, say turn around again.
It was hysterical. Talk about a lost episode. If Scott cut from Sue and added that to my Utah rant, that alone would be a good episode right there because it's fucking hysterical.
Oh, she was so extra, and she was a little embarrassed that she had gotten as drunk as she did. So
And there's no reason for that because you're in the safe zone of the whiskey tangent.
right, and so I edited around the worst parts of it, and it came out great.
Which, by the way, as he does for us too, Sue.
Yes, right.
There was one episode in our first 6 months that I was so drunk I turned my mic off and just rambled for like 15 minutes. He cut the whole last 15 minutes of the episode off. It doesn't even.
I had to.
He had to come up with a baby like brah, 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 brah. So please.
Right, it was like the parents in Charlie Brown.
He's like, brah, 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 brah.
Like you can hear me clearly, but Ed's like.
Oh my God, it's so true.
Episode 17.
So this is where Gabe was called the Whiskey Sherpa. And there was an article in Nepal. I think 12 Sherpas had been killed in an avalanche. And I said, well, see, Gabe, it's better to be a Whiskey Sherpa than a regular Sherpa. And then I just decided to go on a rant about assholes that fucking climb Mount Everest because you are. It's a sick, twisted little self-indulgent group that go and, I mean, Sir Edmund Hillary, who first went in the 50s and did it, was pretty remarkable. Now it's like a trendy thing for a bunch of yuppie fucking assholes, and they're dragging these poor fucking Sherpas up with them to carry all their shit. Then avalanche kills 12 of them in the worst avalanche in fucking history, and the government's like, come on, take the yuppie fuckers up to the top of the mountain.
Oh my God.
For no fucking reason, because it's already been done 1,000 fucking times. So, all they do is leave trash and frozen shit up on top of Everest. Don't get me started again. I'm going to go another rant.
Yeah. One of the things about that episode was the information about the toasting and the charring.
Very interesting. I never really looked at it that deeply.
Now, if you're wondering, as I did, what the difference is between charred and toasted, charred is they basically burn it black, like the wood after a campfire. The wood sugars are caramelized, which imparts sweeter flavors like caramel and honey. But what this also does is it creates a layer of purifying charcoal, which acts as a filter, resulting in a smoother and mellower flavor overall. Toasted means you're just heating it more gently, creating a thinner burned layer of dark brown, and it gives the whiskey more vanilla notes and spicy notes. But it's sharper overall because of the absence of that charcoal layer. And you can do them both or one or the other, and you can do them at a different amount of time. And that greatly affects the flavor of your final whiskey. So it's just another thing. The water, the yeast, the grains that you use, the barrel wood that you use, how long you age it, where you age it. It's just another factor in making delicious whiskey.
Absolutely. Every single month we learn something new.
Yeah. Again, one of the best things about doing this podcast is learning new things which comes second to tasting delicious whiskeys.
Episode 18. Beer. Yeah.
Right. The first thing we did to break our protocol, if you will, was the episode on bourbon aged beer, right?
Bourbon barrel beer.
Right. So beers that were aged in bourbon barrels. The impetus for this was two of our friends who aren't really whiskey drinkers. My friend Christian, who was my neighbor, and then my friend I work with, Jay, who's actually friends with Christian on his own, which is a strange thing.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so there's a whole little triangle there. Like, I know Chris and Jay, and Chris knows me and Jay knows me and Chris,
Yeah, all separately, yeah.
And so we had like 7 different beers, and it was a great episode. It was very funny, but it started out... Before we even went on the air, one of the funniest things that's ever happened. I think how I said that. Jay would not say that, but he had these spectacular tasting glasses. I put my brown paper bag down and I pulled out my bottle of whiskey that I brought. I think it was Eagle Rare,
Just for pre-gaming.
just for pre-gaming, and I caught the lip of one of his glasses I didn't see was there and cracked it all the way down the side.
Yeah.
I see him react to it, and he starts to like put his head in his hands and start to laugh. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, is he buzzed up already? Like, why does he care that I just broke Scott's glass, you know? And then the story comes out. And so that's the theme for the whole first half of the episode of how I broke his glass.
If I may, in particular, I'm really enjoying the way the glass vessel contains it and keeps it from spilling out all over the counter. That, you know what you don't usually want to do when you see a glass of that quality is put something on it. See the big fucking hole at the top?
Yeah.
That's where you put stuff in it.
Right.
And not see how thin and well crafted the edges are.
I mean, beautifully well crafted. I
Right.
mean, it's like a master craftsman. Like Chris said, they looked hand carved, and I can't argue with that. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful glasses I've ever seen. And so, Jay, I do need to know though, because you haven't explained to me anything about the glasses. Where did you get the glasses?
Frickin' Ireland, Ed. They came from Ireland.
Wait, you went to Ireland, didn't you, Jay?
I did go to Ireland.
They were wedding gift.
Yes.
Yeah, he was
They
telling me all about them before
Wedding
you got here and broke one.
Oh, well, Scott, maybe
So-
you'll tell me about them because Jay's not really being.
Well, no,
full.
here's the deal. My family, to celebrate my wedding, they wanted to get me something special. They wanted to get my wife and I something special. So they said, when you're in Ireland, why don't you pick out some crystal? The nicest hand-blown. You can edit out hand-blown, right?
No.
So we-
That's what it sounds like my weekend.
So we go and we tour the Waterford.
Oh, are they Waterford?
factory. They are.
Oh, shit, they're Waterford?
Yeah, the
God
Waterford
damn it.
hand-blown crystal, and it does get better though because if you were looking
gets better.
if you were looking to replace this tasting glass, Ed,
Yeah.
this pattern is only available in Ireland, so you can only get it there.
Well, what the fuck did you bring them here for?
Yeah, so what Ed didn't see, Ed saw Jay's reaction, but he didn't see my reaction. My reaction was total and utter shock because Jay was the first one here, and he told me the entire story. So I knew exactly what those glasses were and what they meant to him.
And
I look like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. My hands are over my face. I was like, "Oh my god, what did you do?" Turned out to be hilarious because Jay just hammered Ed the entire episode.
Yeah, he used it exactly as he should have.
Right. That's why the episode is titled "Sometimes Bad Things Happen to Good Glasses."
Right. So that was one of our most popular episodes with people.
It really
We
was.
had an amazing amount of feedback on that I was surprised about.
Yeah.
And Chris is very low key at times, but Chris was the one that kept us on. There was times that Scott, me, and Jay were just laughing and being stupid. And Chris would be like, anyway, so I'm tasting a lot of malt
He really did.
and hops on this. Like,
Yeah.
can we get back?
So this ale was aged for 120 days, it says here.
120 days. Okay.
Yep. This is my favorite so far, this beer here.
Anyone just see Ed smash the beer bottle into yet another glass? Did you hear that? I mean, why does Ed hate the glassware?
Well,
Scott, go ahead, do
After
it.
a guy's
Scott.
glass?
Anyway.
Ed smash.
Chris, I believe you had some thoughts you wanted to share with us about this latest beer.
No, that trumped everything I had to say right there.
Any glass and beer now.
Any glass now.
Give beer now in glass.
Ed likes smashing glass.
Anyway,
Anyway.
turns out
my God.
New Holland makes their own freaking bourbon. So
Oh, so they use their own barrels.
yeah,
Oh,
Wow. That's
No,
and they also
We are on the edge of our seats, man. What do you got?
We want to have them back. We wanted to do whiskey aged in beer barrels, but
Right.
they don't really fuck with whiskey like that. So,
They don't.
so I don't know what to do.
Maybe we do another bourbon barrel beers.
There's enough beer out there. One beer episode a year is probably good.
Episode 19.
It's a Hill Rock tasting, and when we did that episode, we felt it was kind of a flat episode for us. But let me tell you, if you get a chance to go to a tasting or do a flight, we've said this before, but the Hill Rock tasting, we tasted 6 Hill Rock expressions. Now, what's key about that is if you're buying the bottles, they're usually 85 to 100 for the Hill Rock bottles. If you don't know the Hill Rock distillery, if you don't know their product, if you like bourbon, then you're missing the boat because they have a cab finish, they have a Pinot finish, they have a Sauterne finish, they have a double cask rye, they have a double cask rye Sauterne finish, and they have the regular bourbon Solero.
Yeah, which is also basically a finished whiskey.
So, right. They're in New York.
Small operation.
It's the most spectacular bottle in the industry.
They're cool. Yeah.
It's something you give somebody when they get a new job or a new house.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience, and it helped us become really experts on a brand in one day.
Yeah, and to have 6 was really a treat.
And then we bought the double cask rye Sauterne finish for the episode, which gave us 7 different expressions that we've tried.
Yeah, that's why I named it Hill Rock Times 7. And the tangent was that Pluto's not a planet, so get your head out of Uranus.
And one thing else I want to say, just a personal message to people out there who grew up and had image of the world like I did, especially the fact that we had 9 planets in our solar system. I mean, this fact that we arbitrarily have to throw Pluto out after it's been a planet, it's not doing anything. It's minding its own fucking business. And all of a sudden, somebody has to decide that because a couple of Jupiter's moons are kind of like big.
No.
Oh, there could be.
No.
Shh, it's not your time yet. And there's an anti-Pluto guy next to me.
I'm not anti-Pluto. I love Pluto. So things change in science, okay? Science is not making you feel better. Science is not always right. Science progresses. It's about clarification of knowledge. Pluto was discovered in an era when we had discovered other giant planets like Neptune and Uranus. I'm not going to say Uranus because it's just a dumb name.
Uranus.
Uranus. Since then, we have discovered several objects that are as big, some bigger than Pluto.
I got one right here.
Yeah, it's not as big as Pluto. Don't flatter yourself.
It's closer to you than Pluto is, though.
It is closer. It looks bigger.
It looks bigger than Pluto right now.
And, they had to decide what they're going to do. Now, they could have named all of those things planets. There are 5 official ones, but there's dozens of others that haven't been observed enough for them to determine.
Are they closer than Pluto or farther away?
Well, one is in the asteroid belt, and that's Ceres. And that one is almost as big as Pluto. And it's round. It's a world of its own. We should have to call that a planet too. I'm fine if we do that. But what the International Astronomical Union decided to do was come up with a new category and put Pluto in it. It's not a demotion. It's just a recategorization.
It sounds like someone just took your big office away and gave you a small office and told you it wasn't a demotion. That's right.
This is just me dropping some science on you bitches because everyone's like, oh, Pluto, it's so cute. Oh my God, it's a planet.
Not everybody,
Pluto
me.
doesn't care.
Me.
Pluto doesn't care.
I just felt life was better when Pluto was a planet. And I have no type of argument to back that up.
Right. I know. I get the emotionality of it. I get that we grew up learning that Pluto was a planet and now it's not a planet anymore. And it's very distressing to people because people like to have control over their lives. And this is something that they don't have control over. And, it's floating out there in space. It's still Pluto. It's still awesome.
Right. You can float off in space. You can have the biggest orbit. You can be farthest away and they can say what they want. They can diss you and hate you and spit at your grave. They can give all the hate, but you're always a planet to me. Oh, you elliptical fool. Though you break all the rules, you're a planet to me. So anyway.
Love it. I love it. It's great.
Episode 20.
Our most adventurous episode to date.
The New Year's Eve whiskey cocktail reunion extravaganza battle of the sexes.
Right. So we had the girls are back. Nari.
Ladies.
Drea and Shelby. Ariel, who was actually here for episode 15 too.
Right.
She's the
Also.
pastry chef at the local.
Yes.
So we had 4 girls, and then we had Gabe, joining Scott and I, along with Anders, because it was a cocktail episode.
Right.
And he put together 3 cocktails. What were they?
They were the Ward 8, the Bacon Old Fashioned, and the Baltimore Eggnog.
Yeah, so we had like a full party here. We had Scott put a whole spread out. It was decorated for the holidays still. We played like Family Feud version.
Family Feud, yeah.
The guys won easily. I can't figure out why that was, but we killed them.
I can't either.
We could have answered both sides of the questions in one.
Yeah.
Name something women do better than men.
Everything.
And now it goes to the men. Name something women do better than men.
We're going to go with cook.
Are you serious? That's so
It's cook is the number 5 answer. The other answers, number 1 answer was shop, 33 points.
Wow.
The number 3 answer was drive.
That's incredible.
Bullshit.
That's
No,
bullshit.
I don't think so.
I was going to go with that, but
Wrong. Keep in mind, this is women who are asked this question.
It was.
Of course, they're going to say, "Oh, I'm a better driver."
Oh,
I got my
damn.
phone and my makeup out as I'm driving down 295.
Statistically speaking, don't men get into more accidents than women? That's why you guys
Maybe.
have higher insurance than us?
Maybe.
Right. That's what I thought.
Good point. It's a shame we're going to have to cut this. And so that was a really, really fun episode. Do we have a short after that?
No, I mean, so that was the last episode of the year.
And then we went into the...
What the fuck is a whiskumentary?
I couldn't be prouder of the 4-part whiskumentary that Scott and I did on Prohibition. It was a 100-year anniversary of Prohibition becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And we had always wondered, how in the hell did anybody think this was a good idea?
Right.
And I have to tell you, once you sit down and look at it, it makes sense how it happened, and it makes just as much sense why it stopped.
Yes.
It was a perfect storm for both, and I learned so much, and we had so much personal satisfaction doing it to break up the routine.
Yeah.
And we had tremendous feedback from people on this. Some people like, you know what? I don't really want to read a book on it. I don't need the 6-hour Ken Burns version,
Right.
which
we watched.
We watched, which is really, really interesting.
It's interesting. It's so long.
So long. It could be shorter, Ken.
Yeah.
It could have been shorter.
Yeah, get an editor, Ken.
If Scott could work with Ken Burns, it would have been 2 episodes, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Instead it was 3 episodes, 6 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Scott would have taken 2 hours out of that bitch.
It was, I would have. It's a slog.
He always has to have something like, Ma, we're out working on the still today. Sure was hot. Like, he always has to give you like some personal thing on it.
Sure.
Scott would be like, it's not funny. It's not informative. I'm cutting it.
Cut.
And we still tried to keep it as a whiskey theme.
Right. It was about Prohibition, but we tried to focus on the whiskey. I did a state of whiskey sort of synopsis for each one. We focused each episode, except for the last one, on a particular whiskey that was developed or made at the time, or at least an homage to that time.
Right.
This is what we were talking about when, back in episode 14, when we were thinking maybe this format that we're doing, we need to change things up a little bit. And this was our first idea of how to do it. We mapped out the episodes, how many we wanted to do, what we wanted to do them on. And as you said, Ed, it was really satisfying to actually do it and see it all come together.
Wonderful you had to be you.
Episode 21.
Cognac finished whiskeys. I brought the Crown Royal XO to the party, and it was delicious. Crown Royal itself is very drinkable. It's simple, sweet, delicious.
Better than you think it is.
But the Crown Royal XO, wow, I loved it.
It was extra good.
Yeah, we drank some Hennessy to get warmed up, and then Scott brought an Irish whiskey, Lambay.
Yeah, that was an interesting whiskey. It didn't hold up to Crown Royal.
No,
we just chose
surprising.
it because they both had cognac finishes. There aren't that many cognac finishes. Kind of chose them just because we could get them.
Right.
Honestly, we kind of crafted this episode around your son, Michael,
Right.
who hadn't been on
Correct.
before, and he provided most of the comedy for that episode because, as we do here on the Whiskey Tangent podcast, Ed does something and then people complain about it the entire time.
And joining us is my son Michael, who goes by the stage name of Chalk Mike, who provides the opening music for our shorts with his song Freedom. And he has been chomping at the bit, if you will, to get on the podcast, being that we've been recording for about a year now, and he's never made an official appearance.
Right.
And there's a long list of people that he feels have made appearances ahead of him, and he's going to have a chance to tell you about that.
Get this list together.
It's like the Dead Sea Scrolls rolling out over there with you.
I'm glad we're on the upper level. I can roll it out the window. So I can,
well, maybe you should introduce him.
Mike, say hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I am Chalk Mike. I am the son of my pops, Ed. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Mike.
I'm the castaway here. Why have you not brought me on, Dad? Why?
Are you embarrassed?
That's my uncle. I call him Hunkle because he's hot. He's my Uncle Scott. You feel me? Chalk Mike.
Mike was the longest running slighted member of the Whiskey Tangent community who feels like he should have been on 6 months ago. So now that he's been on, Sergio now becomes the number one most slighted of our crew.
Yeah, we have an episode, Serge.
You're coming.
You'll be on soon.
Your time is coming if we can get through the pandemic.
If we can get through the corona apocalypse, we'll be fine.
Episode 22.
Our last episode that we've done so far, Green Spot versus Redbreast, we wanted to do another Irish whiskey episode because it would have been, Jesus, so long. So it was episode 6 that was our first one.
Right. We did Powers and Jameson in the first one, and then we did Green Spot and Redbreast to do a step up.
That was the episode Gabe and Siobhan were on, and we gave Gabe his Whiskey Tangent jacket.
That's right.
So, Gabe, this marks your 5th episode on the Whiskey Tangent podcast.
Wow.
Frequent flyer. Ed, please present him with his 5-time Whiskey Tangent smoking jacket.
That is great.
I kidded about this a couple episodes ago. I joked that, like SNL's 5-time hosting club, we should get a red smoking velour jacket.
And that is what
Ed
we
is
have.
presenting me with a red smoking jacket. It says Whiskey Sherpa.
On the one lapel.
On one lapel it says Whiskey Sherpa. On the other lapel, Gabe, 5-time host, Whiskey Tangent. That is classic.
And it was his 50th birthday.
Correct. So it's Gabe's 50th birthday, and you only turned 50 one time. Oh, yeah, light the candles. He almost lit the pop filter on fire, which would have been hysterical.
I told myself I wasn't going to cry, and
It's
I'm
a-
not.
It's a rustic.
Maybe later.
Yeah. I mean, come on, give him a quick handy. It's his birthday, for Christ's sake.
All right.
Hello.
I was talking to Scott. But anyway,
And it was the 1-year anniversary of our first recording.
that's correct.
That was a hilarious episode. Once again, Siobhan, just a caustic wit and also filthy.
Oh my God, we were
There's gonna be
so off the rails.
So much editing. to
Jesus.
this.
Okay, so Ed, you motherfucker, you just reached into my glass to take a piece of ice out of it to put in his drink. He has a whole glass next to him.
Are you trying to
Ed's
say his
not
hands
known
may be
for his
dirty?
decorum.
What I'm trying to say is he's fingered my glass.
It was more of a fisting.
It was more of a fisting because Ed's 2 fingers is basically everyone else's fist. Am I right? Like, look at his fingers.
2 fingers that could break a hymen.
Damn!
Jeez.
Shit, Siobhan. It's hard to catch me off guard, but holy shit, right?
Whiskey Madness 2020, the final bar.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't listened to Whiskey Madness, pause right now and go back and do the Whiskey Madness because we're going to talk about it.
Hello and welcome to the Whiskey Tangent Podcast, Whiskey Madness 2020, the final pour, a 4-week-long blind tasting tournament featuring 16 whiskeys from America, Scotland, and Ireland, modeled after the most famous bracket competition of all, NCAA basketball's March Madness. Joining me, as always, is Ed.
Hey, everyone.
And our friend and bartender extraordinaire, Anders.
Thanks for having me again.
Our venue is the stunning Whiskey Tangent Arena in beautiful downtown Marlton, New Jersey, otherwise known as my kitchen. And the crowd is just electric with anticipation.
I'm going to say right now, if you actually do a blind tasting of 4 or 5 whiskeys that you like, and you throw in 2 whiskeys that you don't think you like, you might be surprised at how difficult it is to tell difference. We had trouble Henry McKenna is one of my favorite bourbons, and I had a tough time picking it out against Larceny.
Yeah, you take away the bottle, you take away the knowledge of the brand, your knowledge of how many times you've had it, and you pair it blind in the same glasses as 3 or 4 others, or even just 2. And then when you put some water on it, and you're tasting them one after the other, and you're really comparing the nose, palate, the finish. And then what happens in your brain is if they're not too dissimilar, you get confused as to which one is which.
Right. And I'll be dead honest with you, Bullet Rye is a very versatile whiskey, but I didn't think it was the best whiskey in the tournament, okay? I'll be dead honest with you. Even though we ranked it number 1 in the Ryes, I thought Willet was going to win. And then if it did win, I thought that Henry McKenna and the bourbon would have smoked it. And if it somehow made it out there, I thought Green Spot would smack it aside. So I had it maybe top 5 in the tournament, but I certainly didn't have it as number 1, and I wasn't rooting for it.
And honestly, the number 1 seeding was kind of just an homage to it because
it was tongue in cheek from us because it was our home brand. It was something that we've been outspoken that we find to be, for the price point, the most delicious, most versatile whiskey that we think exists.
It was on our first episode. I have a bottle of it right now, the big bottle, because I love to make cocktails with it. It makes amazing cocktails.
$49.99 here for the 1.75.
Right.
So we could do Whiskey Madness again. That could be a thing we do every year.
Absolutely.
And we probably will because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I need to thank Anders again.
Oh, absolutely.
Who his only day off is Sunday, and he was coming in here every Sunday and recording with us.
Yeah, 3 Sundays in a row.
And I mean, that's like not having a day off for him for 3 weeks. So Anders, thank you so much.
Yes, it wouldn't have been the same without him.
No, he had to break the tie to decide the champion.
Yeah.
Here's glass number 1.
Glass number 1. Okay, I'm not opening my eyes.
So this is the finals. Could I have another half of each one?
Another half ounce of each one.
I need a little more of a taste.
Okay. Scott, here's the other glass.
Okay.
It's like I'm at a quandary right now, and I can't make a decision.
Here's glass A.
Wow. I have no fucking idea.
Ed, here's glass B.
Thank you.
I'm not going to tell Anders which one I have picked until Ed makes his decision. This is so intense.
The final round.
Ed has made his decision. You can hand it to Anders.
It was hard.
And then I will say
Holy shit.
that I'm picking the second glass. That one you just put down. I don't know which letter that was.
You're picking the second glass, Scott.
Yeah. And?
In our final round.
Yes.
It's a tie.
Oh my God.
It is a fucking tie.
In the championship.
Green Spot and Bullet Rye.
Oh, Scott and I
in the
have split.
championship round.
It was really close.
Oh, so it's all up to you, Anders.
Who else would I want there? You want someone with his palate and his experience. So we were blessed to have him. And honestly, he's the one that validated the whole tournament for us by being the one to break every tie.
Yeah. At the end of the final pour episode, he sort of breaks down how he felt that it was the most unbiased tasting that he'd ever been to.
But seriously, I do want to say, I'm sure there's going to be some percentage of detractors.
Maybe.
Sure.
Having a rough opinion on both Scott and Ed's profile, having bartended them for over a year and having gotten to know them and doing all these wonderful podcasts, I kind of knew what they would favor. And all in all, I was shocked at almost every single round that we've done. This might have been the most objective tasting that I've ever done. I went into that final round being like, motherfucker, you can't pick Bullet Rye. Like, you're a professional. But at the end of the fucking day, after pouring and seeing you taste every single one, I couldn't tell where it was going to go.
I'm glad he said that. I'm glad he was the one who had to break the tie.
Yep.
And that it went to a tie. Folks, just get some Bullet Rye and try it. Just do it.
Yeah, get Bullet Rye and get 3 other spirits you think dominate it and get someone to give you the blind tasting. And you're going to be surprised at where that measures up.
Yeah. And hey, if you don't pick it, hey, that's great.
Yeah.
You didn't pick it. Well,
I love people hating on it. I see people hate on it all the time online, on some of the Facebook groups that I'm in. It just kind of cracks me up. I'm like, good. I don't want Bullet Rye to become the next Henry McKenna where I can't find a goddamn thing and it's $70.
Right.
Coming up this year.
So we are on the Corona apocalypse, as mentioned. We are now into the lockdown by half an hour.
Yeah, I can't leave. I actually have to stay over now by law, and sleep on the couch and go home in the morning.
Right. We have some that we recorded earlier. So if we do the Scotch episode after this, we are good through May 7th, and we don't have to record for another month.
Right.
So that's why we're doing this tonight. We have 2 more shorts that we've already recorded. Next week will be our take on our second Infinity bottle.
Right. We've done 2 Infinity bottles. I loved our first Infinity bottle. And if I ever became a millionaire, I would just buy everything that we had in there and make nothing but that Infinity bottle and drink it all the time. I'd have some minions in a basement somewhere mixing each of those bottles proportionally. So I'd have like 6 Infinity bottles, and that would be in my study.
And then our double blind tasting of higher end expression whiskeys in a sort of invitational bracket.
Yeah, we
thing.
did, right, to piggyback off the Whiskey Madness, we did what I've been calling the Whiskey Invitational.
Right.
Which is these elite spirits that we've brought together to see which of those would win.
Yeah, and we sort of teach you how to do a double blind tasting. So what we did in the Whiskey Madness was a single blind tasting because Anders knew, but Ed and I didn't.
Right.
This time we were with Gabe. Gabe came over, and we did a double blind in that none of us knew what we were tasting.
It's very riveting.
Was it? I forget everything about it, and I haven't listened to the edit yet.
I suggest that you listen to it because it's really remarkable.
And the most exciting thing that's coming up is we're going to do a Scotch episode.
And like I said, my friend Joe and his wife are going to be here with us to do it. And we will bring them back. I promise we will, because they're fantastic whiskey people.
Because there's so many Scotches.
Right.
There's
We could
different
do this
regions.
forever.
Yeah, we'll definitely have them back.
And we included Scotch in the Whiskey Madness because Scotch is such a huge part of the whiskey industry that we've been avoiding.
Yeah.
And so on our Scotch episode, we are going to highlight a couple of Scotches that we feel, if you're like us, bourbon and rye drinkers, what are some Scotches that we can drink and kind of fit in?
Right. Exactly.
or not, I mean, that sounds lame, but or expand our palate.
Yeah.
You know, that's not an Ardbeg.
No,
you know,
right,
it's not,
no.
I'm an Ardbeg. And the Ardbeg people, you know who you are. You love being the obnoxious Ardbeg people that you are, okay? Because you think everything we drink is thin and shitty compared to your Ardbeg. And I'm going to be honest. I had Ardbeg in my mouth a couple times, and I hated every second of it. But I will tell you this. I will concede this, and I've said it on the podcast before. When I swallowed it, I kind of missed it. The flavor of an Ardbeg is so complex and terrible to me, but the complexity is so there that as a seasoned whiskey drinker, you have to recognize the complexity that's present, even if you don't like it.
I feel like we also had the same opinion of the Lagavulin when we did the Whiskey Madness.
Well, you were way advanced on me. You secretly liked Lagavulin. You were drinking it behind my back. No. You were drinking behind my back.
I was. No, I'm admitting to that. I think it scans with where our palates are. Like, I do like the bolder flavors and the smokiness. It's super smoky, but it's not as smoky to me as it is to you because my taste sensation is less than yours.
Right. So I like the Chivas. I like the Akatoshan.
Akatoshan.
God damn it.
You're really close there.
I was really close that time.
You were.
I don't like the Lagavulin. I don't like the Ardbeg. I don't like Smoky. I don't like the McCarthy's, the American smoky, peaty.
Not bad in a cocktail, though.
I mean, Anders makes magic, but
Right, he does.
But if I can learn some scotches, some single malts and things like that, and enhance my palate and grow in my experience of whiskey, I'm very happy to do that.
Right. So a couple more things that we have coming up. We're going to do probably our first Japanese whiskey.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that.
Now that we've planned a Scotch episode, and we'll have that
Because they're
come
similar
out.
in a way.
They are. Also, of course, we're going to do cocktails on the 5. Every 5 episodes, we're going to do cocktails. And we're going to do a short about Blanton's. Ed was able to procure one. And in the same vein that we did of barrel-aged beer, we're planning a barrel-aged wine episode as well.
Which is new for me.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, I
So
think.
we'll be drinking wine that episode. Right?
Yeah, we'll be drinking wine. Aged in barrels. Bourbon barrels.
All right.
All right, and I think that's it.
So listen, it's been a year. I mean, it's been an amazing experience. I'm so proud of Scott and I for actually doing this. And I think all of us, you can relate to this. You sit around and talk about things, and then you don't ever do them. And we were right there with you.
Yeah.
For 2 years, we talked about doing this, and we never did it. We finally did it. And it's been an amazing, rewarding experience. It's been expensive, but the money was well spent. I don't feel bad about a cent of it. I probably spent over $3,000 on whiskey.
We probably should have added it up.
And by the way, the whiskey people at home, they're like, yeah, that's not that hard.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I mean, so I thank everybody for the support. Like I said, 1,000-page likes is unreal. 4,000 downloads, 24 countries, 6 continents. I'm fascinated to know where we'll be 6 months from now and a year from now.
Yeah, I hope it's 10,000.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Most of all, and I think this is really important, I can't thank Scott enough. He works so hard editing this. He takes such pride in our finished product that I know that he frets over stuff that other people simply would not care about.
Right.
Most of the music is his. He finds it, and it's usually royalty free.
Yes.
So I can't thank Scott enough. I couldn't picture doing it with anybody else because we both complement each other so well that I could not do this podcast without him, and I don't think he would want to do it without me. So
No, that's absolutely true. And thank you for
and
saying
I would shake your hand except just coronavirus.
Right. Thank you for saying that. I couldn't do this without you. Like you said, we complement each other on this. I'm that sort of the technical behind the scenes person. We both do a lot of research for this, but I do all the editing and crafting of the final product, but there wouldn't be a product to craft if it weren't for you.
Well, thanks so much. And thanks to everybody who supported us this first year.
Absolutely.
And all of our fans and the people who have been on here. And we can't wait to see what the next 12 months holds.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and it's been one of the most creatively rewarding things that I've ever done.
Yep. So everybody, be safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and we'll keep putting out product as long as we can.
Absolutely. Cheers.
If you enjoyed this podcast episode, be sure to check out our next episode, which is way better than this one.
Oh, yeah.
Also, follow and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Whiskey Tangent. And follow us on Twitter at Whiskey Tangent. You can follow me personally at That Whiskey Guy. And follow Scott at Giant Cup of Awesome, spelled AWSUM, just to be annoying.
Hey!
You can email us any questions, comments, or love at whiskeytangent@gmail.com. And of course, you can find us always at our podcast website, whiskeytangent.podbean.com.